Hello everyone. This is the session 5 of Holiness of God. The attribute holiness is, I think, is the greatest attribute of God, which includes righteousness, justice, even hesed, emet, all. That's holiness. So the foundation of attribute of God is, I think, holiness. So the people, God, Yahweh, Adonai is holiness. Therefore, his people, Israel, must be holy. So, to be holy actually is very important for Israel to maintain or sustain the covenant relationship with God. As they sustain or continue the covenant relationship with God, and they will be holy. They are able to holy. So to be holy, for the people of Israel to be holy, they must accept the sovereignty of God. What does it mean? So God has given them the covenant law so that they must obey the covenant law to be holy. But as time went on in the history of Israel, the problem arose that people, especially religious leaders, actually just focus on the literal meaning of holiness, literal meaning of cleanness, literal meaning of uncleanness, whatever. And they thought that they thought to be very, very holy, separate thoroughly from aliens, the nations. Yeah, that's right. But why they had to think about the reason why God chose them to be holy. Because God chose them to be holy, to be the light of the nations, not to be proud of themselves to be very holy. No. So if you see the history of Israel thoroughly failed to be holy, just because of the wrong interpretation of holiness of God. They just focus on literal meaning, not the spiritual meaning of holiness. Actually, being holiness means actually serving the nations. Actually, they being holy. Actually, by being holy, they need to be the light of the nation, so that a lot of the nations may come to Jerusalem to worship together with them. But actually they just exclude the nations all the time. Yes, especially if you see the Jesus Christ, especially Mark chapter 23, then Jesus is severely criticized Pharisees and Sadducees. Why? Because they thoroughly failed to be holy. They thoroughly failed to understand the true meaning of holiness of God. That's why their holiness became kind of hypocritic holiness. What does it mean? Hypocritic holiness means like they appear to be holy, but inside their heart and mind, they were never holy. They failed to be holy inside. That's why they always focus on separating themselves to be the lay people of Israel or the nations. That's why Jesus Christ severely criticized them. And then chapter 24, Jesus predicts the destruction of the temple and the wall of Jerusalem. Why? The temple, the most holy place. But by the dominance of religious leaders, high priest, Sadducees, Pharisees. These religious leaders actually made the holy temple become very dirty. Especially high priest group, they made it a bazaar, market, selling things, selling sacrificial offering. So it became market. It became big market from which the high priest got a lot of benefit, economic benefit, financial benefit. So the temple lost its holiness. Actually, even from the time of, if we read a book of Ezekiel, the Israelites, the leaders, religious leaders worship Baal and Nazareth. Especially chapter 8, people were worshiping idols in the temple. Wow. So already temple became very, very dirty. Even in the time of Isaiah, before that, actually. So already the temple and the land of Canaan has actually lost its holiness. Even the people lost their holiness. So therefore, this temple people must be judged. So that's why in AD 70 by Roman general Titus, the temple was thoroughly destroyed and the wall of Jerusalem was thoroughly destructed. Wow. So, why did God do that? Because God is holy, so God never endures any unholy things. When God sees Israel, they became very unholy. When God sees the temple, it became very, very dirty. When God sees the land of Canaan, right, became very dirty. That's why the land will vomit the people. That's why the people of Israel were taken into the land of Babylon. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 7, verse 26. Hebrews chapter 7, verse 26. Better be. Okay, let's go to 1 Peter. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 16. Be holy because I am holy. This is the reflection of Leviticus chapter 19, verse 2. Yes. And, so this is the basic principle for the people who just, for even alien people to believe in Jesus Christ. Even though they are Gentile, now they believe in Jesus Christ. Therefore, they must be very, very holy. Because, if they are not holy, they will be punished. Because, once you believe in Jesus Christ, you need to reflect the attribute of God, holiness. Okay, let's go to Revelation chapter 6, verse 10. Revelation chapter 6, verse 10. They call out in a loud voice, "How long, sovereign Lord, holy and true, until you judge the inhabitants of the earth and avenge our blood?" Here in this passage, it implies that the holiness of God causes him to judge the people. Judge the people on the earth. Who are they? Romans, Jewish people. even Israel, even Christians, when those who are what is called Christian, when they do not reflect the holiness of God. So they must be very, very holy. And also, we need to think about this aspect. Okay, in the New Testament, especially Jesus Christ. Okay, whenever He touches, it becomes very, very clean. On the other hand, actually, in the Old Testament, if you touch unholy things, unclean things, you will become unholy. But when Jesus touches everything, it becomes very, very holy. That's why whenever He touches His land on the sick people, they are cleaned away. Their sickness will be gone away. The demons, ghosts are cast away because Jesus is holy. That's why unholy spirits, ghosts will be cast out. So likewise, we are given authority to be holy. So if we continue to be holy in relationship with Jesus Christ, we can make everything holy. Therefore, we need to go out to the world and we need to make them clean. We need to make them holy. Hallelujah. This is the teaching of the New Testament of holiness. One more thing. Matthew chapter 5 verse 48. Matthew chapter 5 verse 48. Jesus Christ said, "Be perfect, be whole, as your Father in heaven be perfect." Perfectness is holiness. So we need to try to be holy, mature. Thank you very much.